Hello,
GM Santiago de la Mancha.
Jose Maria. How's it
Oh
going,
my
brother?
God. Good. Everything's great, Santi. How about you, bro?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm excited for today.
Santi, bro. Today's going to be spicy.
I know, I know.
Today is a very important day. The election is open. We see people going after one another. We have many different points of views, and we have some spicy questions for the candidates today. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, man. We're starting a little bit early to get acclimated to everything that will happen today,
Yeah,
because it's going to be a long brew probably, and a spicy one. So yeah,
absolutely.
what are you expecting from this, Jose?
Bro, I'm expecting to learn a few positions that are still unclear to me. I want to hear some candidates' thoughts around some very important topics that I consider uh, paramount to the success of the DAO. So, yeah, it's going to be entertaining to learn positions and see who agrees and who disagrees with what we are going to ask. And I feel like we have a very interesting format, Santi. Uh, let's wait for a minute or two and then we can explain the format of this debate to the overall public. I think people will
Yeah,
enjoy.
yeah. We'll get into details soon. Our friend Dominic Bain is feeling a little bit sick, so he won't be talking today. But he's assisting with the
Yeah,
logistics behind the scenes, just so everyone knows. In case you wonder, we should all send good vibes to Dominic Bain.
yeah. Send a
So
hug
he
for him in the chat, bros.
hugs for Dominic Bain in the chat. Yeah, but yeah, I'm feeling great. Jose, it's good to be back. It's good to be back with such a spicy
Yeah,
one as well.
yes, you came back at the right moment, brother. You
Yeah.
came,
Had to take a brief week off to recharge. But
yeah,
feeling great now. I'm feeling ready for
moisturize it.
yeah, feeling ready for the future, man. I think we're in a very exciting moment, especially with the council elections coming soon. But not only that, but also everything that happened. I know you guys had a brew about Breakpoint, about Impact, and everything that happened in there. But I think it was amazing. I couldn't be happier about what we achieved in there, and also secure about the future that we have. I think this Atlas vision is more clear than ever, and just in a great spot. So I hope everyone feels like I do, but it really feels like everything is coming together for Star Atlas, and yeah, we are approaching good times.
Yep,
But
we are very close to transcendence.
yeah, and yeah, I see JP that saying that Florida is a mess. Everyone that is in Florida, stay safe, my friends. Stay
Yeah,
safe.
man.
Yeah, that's
S-
important.
Sending our love and prayers to Florida right now. It's crazy. Like when I saw the news about the strength of that hurricane, I was mind blown. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Stay safe. Stay safe. Take care of yourself, of your family. Um, and if you need anything, please let us know in the chat. We'll try to help however we can. But yeah, I think Jose, it's a good moment now to get started. Just some news on the council and DAO end. We're not going to do long, noteworthy news today. We'll just stay on topic for the DAO candidate debate. It's a long one. I think we have 9 candidates that we'll be debating today, because 9 or 10, we'll see. But 2 candidates dropped from the run. So Kriegs, as we announced, dropped from running for council, and also DMARC dropped from the council elections as well. So if you voted for DMARC, please adjust your votes accordingly. Now, I think getting into the main topic for today, Jose, I think it's important to note that this is a debate, but also we shouldn't forget about the bigger objectives that we have. We shouldn't. I tweeted about this today, but this is a pivotal moment, I think, in the Stratos community. This is the very first time that we actually have a budget for all of us who are here at the brew, who are out there in the chats every day. It's the first time we have a budget to try to achieve um, stuff for the community, to try to grow the community, to try to give it to the people that add real value. And that is something that we didn't have before, and we have this great community. So the council is a big part of that, but we shouldn't forget about the bigger vision. We shouldn't forget that we are all in this for the same goal, even though we disagree in opinions, even though there may be differences, even in the people that will be elected for the council. We shouldn't forget that at the end of the day, you're getting elected to the council, and we are voting for you because we want the ecosystem to grow, because we want people to be supported. And that is what is the most important thing at the end of the day. So I just wanted to say that it's a personal opinion. I don't know, Jose, if you want to add something to that before we get started with the guys.
Man, you are absolutely right, Santi. Um, the important thing here is to remember is that everyone who is here at this moment in the DAO, who is participating, who is fighting for the future of Star Atlas, they have the goal of Star Atlas making it big, becoming, achieving the vision that everyone here shares about the project. So I really expect to see the council candidates to behave in a dignified manner that makes everyone proud today. We are here to debate ideas, not to debate people, and I really hope to see the council members sharing their views on projects, on ideas, on content, and not displaying anything that's below the high expectations that we have for them today. So yeah, really looking forward to see the different ideas, the different controversial points of views about Star Atlas, about the DAO role, about the future. And yes, I'm super excited for today. I
Yeah,
share your enthusiasm on seeing what's going to be shared today by the council candidates.
yeah. But I think it's a good moment now, Jose, to get started. Just to cover really quick the rules for today. How this will work, we're probably going to go for a little bit more than an hour, but the debate will go in alphabetic order. So we will start with Ahota and probably end with JP. So it will be Ahota, Bodhi, Brian, Drum Carlos, Emperor, Funcracker, Notcats, Jitblade, and then JP last. And how this is going to work is we will ask a question to the candidate. Everyone will be on stage, but will be muted. And we'll ask a question to the specific candidate, and that candidate will have 1 minute to reply. Then we'll open the floor for another candidate to disagree with that. So that candidate will have to raise their hands in a different chat that we have, and they can interject and basically disagree or add to what the previous candidate said. Then we allow the initial candidate to respond again, and that will happen one more time where we open again for someone else to interject, and then the initial candidate reply and closes the question. We prepare one question for each of the candidates, and again, alphabetical order. We didn't send them before to the candidates, so they will have to improvise a little bit on stage. They will have to go um, with their feelings or with their thoughts. The questions are random. Yeah, we prepare questions and we assign them basically via alphabetical order, but the questions are random. Yes. Um, I think we can get started now. If people didn't understand, let me send the how this is going to work in the chat so the audience also understands. how it will work. And let's get the candidates on stage now. Remember
Raise
for
your
the
hand.
candidates that you will be muted on stage. We'll have Dominic Bain handling all the logistics in the background. So please, all the candidates, no video, because that just doesn't allow everyone to be on stage. If you do video, it limits the amount of people that we can get on stage, right?
Yo, yo.
GM, Joe,
Instantly muted, bro.
concentrate.
Couldn't only get a yo-yo in.
uh,
Okay, I think we have most of them now on stage.
let's
Who are we
see. Let's
missing?
see.
Who are we missing? So we have Bodhi. Who are we missing? There's someone missing here.
Let's
Ahota,
see.
is Ahota here?
Ahota. Yeah, it's Ahota.
Ahota, where are you? Raise your hand if you're on the audience. Tag Ahota. Everyone tag Ahota. I think he's the only one we're missing, right? Ahota, Boldy Brian, Drum Carlos Emperor, Funcracker, Notcats, Blade, and JP.
Oh, here he is.
Here he is. He's also the first one to speak, so
Yeah.
he better be in here. All right. I think we can get started again. How this will work is we will give everyone one question, and you will have 1 minute to reply to the question, and then you will be muted instantly after the minute. And someone else from the council candidates can disagree with you, and we'll unmute them. Disagree or add or whatever. Raise their hands in the council chambers channel that we have. One channel above this one, it's a private one with the council candidates. So you have to post it there, and we'll give you the time. But I think we can get started. Dominic Bain, please unmute Ahota since he's the first one, and we'll go with the question. Ahota, are you here, my friend? Checking, mic check. You're muted. I don't hear Ahota. Jose, do you hear him?
No, I don't hear him as well. Probably push to talk problem.
Ahota.
I see his screen going green, but
Yeah, his screen
no
is going
voice.
green, but it's not working. I think we can, worst case, we skip. Worst case, we skip to the next one. Let's see if Bodhi can speak.
Yeah, I can. Hey guys.
Okay, yeah, we hear you.
Bodhi.
Okay, so we'll ask you a question, Bodhi, and you'll have a minute to reply, and then you will be muted.
What is that?
Sounds good?
Yep.
Okay, so Bodhi, do you think the council position, should it be paid or voluntary?
I think that the council position should come with no great material benefit. I don't necessarily think that it should be purely voluntarily, but I think that it definitely shouldn't be a large enough compensation to attract opportunists. But that being said, I do know that there's potentially costs involved, and I know that we would lose. It depends on how much you pay, but you do lose people if it's not paid enough. It's different for everybody, especially with us being in so many different places around the world. But that being said, the opportunists come with the higher compensations as well. So there's a balance there, but I err towards a lower amount. And personally, I will donate any amount that I get because I have enough vested interest in the project.
Okay, muted. 1 minute is up. I think Brian raised his hand, so let's give Brian 1 minute as well.
Testing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So this question is going back to Bodhi. You've spent the last week on this Discord telling people that the candidate shouldn't receive any pay at all because of these vested interests. So I want to know why your answer is changing now. And also I want you to elaborate a bit on how you're expecting to get talent into this ecosystem if the job is so one, if the job is unpaid, how are you going to get talent? And two, people that aren't making a lot of money, let's say, they're not making a lot of money, they're working at Wendy's, but they would be a good counselor. They're not going to be able to quit their job. So how would you respond to that?
Cool. All right, Bodhi, you have 1 minute to reply to that.
Yeah, so as far as the first part of your question about changing my opinion, I made a PIP almost maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I said the exact same words that I just said now. There should be no great material benefit. I personally, I personally will volunteer. But as far as incentivizing, people that might not have enough money to run, I do understand that with a lower pay comes, you're gonna lose people, but like I said, it's to avoid opportunists. So it's kind of a necessary thing. I believe that the main incentive for people should be a love of the project and a desire to help, and even a vested interest in the project. But yeah, if you pay too much, and
All right, muted after the minute. Guys, remember that once the minute hits, you will be muted, just to keep the time going and keep the conversation going. I saw JP also in the chat saying that he has something to say. JP, mic check. Let's see if we can unmute him.
Test.
Yes, perfect. You have 1 minute, my friend.
All right, so I kind of follow in the middle here. I'll start by saying I do think that the position should have some kind of compensation attached to it. The issue that I see the issue with opportunists. I think you can I would hope that the community will work around that by just voting in people that do have the best interests in mind. But also, there's other ways to attach value to the position without it being extractive. You can, the compensation can be in polis with a vesting schedule, or it has to be staked for X number of years after you receive that compensation. Things that lean into the commitment that these individuals have to the Star Atlas ecosystem, but in a way that does still reward them for their time, because we want to attract people of quality to this position. We want those people to be incentivized to do their best work and to show up and attend meetings and be involved. And time is money. So I think that it should be compensated, but I think there's smart ways to go about it.
Perfect. 1 minute. Bodhi, last chance to reply.
yeah, actually, that was one example that I really did like. Vested, like I said, vested interest, I think is a way better motivator than just a direct compensation. So yeah, vested tokens, locked tokens. I'm sure there's any number of other perks that we can do that don't just imply a direct cash compensation, which is really what I want to avoid.
Okay, perfect. So that was the first question, guys.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah,
Can we get a round of applause in the chat for the first question? I think it was.
Let's go.
I think the format is working. Some W's in the chat. Good replies from the council members. I like this. I'm enjoying it. Just
Yeah.
say, do you want to take the next one? I think we should move
Yeah.
to Brian, right?
Maybe you want to test Ahota? If
Ahota,
he
let's
has
see.
fixed it? Ahota.
Ahota. He's
Ahota
deafened.
Yeah. Jeez. Out. Okay. So the next question will go to Brian. Brian, I want to hear your thoughts. Should the council members be publicly doxed?
Yes,
What
I
is the
100% think that council members should be doxxed. This is a very serious position, and when you're in this sort of public facing position, people want the number one rule in crypto, in my mind, is trust. How can you trust somebody if you don't know who they are? They're sitting behind a keyboard, they refuse to turn on their camera, they're hiding in the woods. Like, they can rug you at any moment and you have no recourse. So, yes, 100% need to be doxxed. There's way more trust. And honestly, when people know each other in real life, they work together better. The council will work together more if they can see each other's faces. Can you imagine sitting in a board, you don't know who they are, there's just a voice behind a camera? Like, that is just weird. So the 100%, we need to be doxxed. We need to meet face to face. The polls voters need to know who we are. And for me, that's an easy answer.
Okay. We have some people that want to reply. The first person is JP. JP, you have 1 minute to talk about Brian's comment.
All right, so I just want to start by saying that I definitely agree with this, pretty much on all points, Brian. But just to add some personal experience that I have in this as well, I have contributed to other DAOs and companies and projects that had a non-participant in the DAO, and I can say that almost always it ends up being there was some really distinct reason that person did not want to be doxxed. And I think because of how much is on the line with this project and how passionate this group of people are about it, there's enough talent that we can find quality people that are willing to put their name and their face behind the project. And I think anyone's excuse of, oh, I just want to be doxxed because I'm trying to skirt regulations or taxes or this or that, it almost always ends in disaster. I've personally, seen rugs and stuff happen as a result of allowing that type of behavior. I've been publicly doxxed my entire career in crypto. I really just see no reason to need to have an anonymous identity as it relates to this. So hard agree to King Brian.
Awesome. Going back to Brian now, 1 minute.
Yeah, I think JP brings up really, really good points. There's plenty of talent in our ecosystem that we don't have to deal with those negatives, because there's so many negatives that come with not being able to see someone. Why do we want to take that risk? It doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, I'm agreeing with JP, and not much to debate on this. I just want to shout out to JP's. I want to hear more from him because he is absolutely killing it.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. I see the chat is really like this question, so I want to bring the next candidate to talk about this. It's going to be Bodhi. Bodhi, you have 1 minute to talk about this topic.
Yeah. So, a couple things. Firstly, crypto was actually intended to be trustless. I do understand the value in trust, and in fact, the reason that I enjoy peer-to-peer trading so much is because in crypto there generally isn't trust. So, being able to have a situation where you can have a trusting relationship, I think, is really powerful. But it's not the benchmark. It's quite the opposite. And as far as reasons not to dox, I don't think very many people are. I think at least for me personally, I'm a big proponent of not forcing doxing of members, because I think a lot of people do bring value, and this project can 100x if it goes to the same market cap as Axie, and we have a lot better fundamentals. So there's a lot of risk there, being this early and doxing yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Bodhi. Brian, 1 minute.
Yeah, so this has come up before in conversations with Bodhi and others, and part of Bodhi's comment on not being doxxed is because he thinks he's going to be assassinated. And that's just crazy. Let's just call it what it is. Swagner is out there every day. He has 10x the bag that Bodhi has, 100x the bag. Like, we are all out there. We're not getting assassinated. No one's coming to get us to steal our ledgers. So it's just not. If that's the way that you think about life, like, I'm just questioning, like, what else is going on in there. So for me, doxing, it just, if you're in a position of responsibility, you're literally, you're representing Pulse, which is a ton of money and people's hopes and dreams. The least you can do is show your face to them.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Santi?
Jose,
Oh,
we posted a poll.
Yeah, this is wild. Like, I see most of the Polish voters for now are in favor of having the council candidates doxed. This is pretty interesting. One more candidate wanted to talk on this topic. It's Emperor from Rome. Rome. Oh, Emperor, you have 1 minute, friend.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm probably going to go a little sideways here. We're talking about doxing, but in the PIP to create the council, it specifically said that they would be doxed to the team. So to me, doxing to the team is by default there. So what I think is probably more important is when you're working with a group of people. I've been on boards for 21 years now, and when it comes to working with people, especially people that might not necessarily agree with you, when you can interact with them in a more personal way, to me, that's more important. So doxing is a little bit different to me in this situation. So you don't necessarily have to respond, King Brian, but that was just my 2 cents on that. I haven't really chimed in, but working with people, it is much more favorable to be able to look somebody in the eyes, even if it's through a computer. But that's just my experience.
Thank you, Emperor. Brian?
Yeah, I just wanted to address a quick point that there was a couple comments that there was being doxed to the team, and then there's being doxed to the polls holders or the community. But there's also a third one is being doxed to the council members, right? Because I totally agree with what Emperor said, that working together face to face, it's essential. We absolutely need it. Bodhi and I are never going to see eye to eye unless we actually look at ourselves eye to eye, meet in person. Maybe we can hash things out. So I think that's 100% like needed to work together. But also, I still agree with my main point that we should be doxed to the community, because that's how important this is.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Yes, Santi? Pretty interesting.
It's, man, I'm loving the conversation. I'm loving it. I think it's flowing really well. And sorry, guys, again for the cutoff. It's 1 minute and we cut it. So it may sound a bit savage. I see it in the chat, people saying it, but we have to keep it structured. We're also trying to keep it just to 2 people replying to the same question. But we can play it by ear depending on the conversation and how it's going. I think it's interesting. So we can move to the next question. Jose, what do you think?
Absolutely, bro. You got this one?
Yeah, I got it. So this question is for Drum Carlos. Before I ask it, let's do a quick mic check for Drum Carlos. He hasn't talked yet. So, McBain, if we can unmute.
Check.
Drum Carlos?
2.
Yep.
Working perfect. Okay, I'll proceed and ask the question. Remember that you'll have 1 minute, Drum Carlos, and then the other council candidates can post in the council chambers if you want to interject. But the question for you, Drum Carlos, is there a conflict of interest between being a Big Star Atlas asset holder and operating as a council member?
I believe there's no conflict of interest directly from that, because this is people that really believe in the project, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. However, at the current time when we have so much concentration in some wallets, it's a little concerning that some candidates can pretty much elect themselves. I hope this is going to improve a lot. When we start getting more members from the community. And a lot of votes from small PvP would be able to compensate big votes. Plus, there's going to be other big voters around with different interests, and that's going to balance out the field better.
Cool. I see in the chat that JP wants to interject on this one. So JP, let's unmute you, and you'll have 1 minute.
Hey, yeah, sorry, I don't want to come off like I'm hogging the mic. So if anybody else wants to hop in, I'm glad to hand it over. But I just wanted to quickly point out that I do not think that there's a conflict of interest. However, I also think there's a lot of value in having smaller positioned individuals that are passionate about the project but might bring insight from other industry related areas, right? So I have a decent sized Star Atlas fleet. Arcade has a massive Star Atlas fleet, but I think what I really bring to the table, most importantly, is the perspective and experience that I have with other crypto projects still in the space, right? And other experience with DAOs and games in our niche. So I would say, while I don't think it's a conflict of interest, I also don't think it's required. And I don't think we should judge people based on the size of their fleet. But yep, that's all I got.
Cool. We'll
Interesting.
pass the mic back to Drum Carlos in case there's anything you want to add, Drum Carlos, to that one.
No, he's absolutely right. And the fact that we're going to have different points of view, managing all these expectations is really good. But there's always this other tension. I've been in the governance channel talking about some tensions that are present in the DAOs and governance versus stakeholder interest, because not everyone that owns Polis might be interested in the project at all. They might be speculating. So there's always these difficult balances that we're going to have to be on top, and we're going to need the community to also be on top of everything.
True. I think Brian wants to reply to this one, so let's unmute Brian. You'll have 1 minute, my friend. I see you're muted, Brian.
Yeah, I agree with both JP and Drum, and I definitely want to emphasize that it's important to have diversity. Like, it's important to have star-based players. It's important to have FPS players. But I also wanted to chime in on there's potential conflict of interest when there's inside information. So if DAO counselors have access to information before something happens, then that's when we need to be really careful about. And speaking with Dan and Glenn, the foundation director, that there is some potential for that. So that is definitely in the works. I imagine there might be some NDAs. We may be subject to blackout periods similar to the team. So that's definitely happening, and everyone's aware of it.
Thank you for the reply, Brian. Drum Carlos, one last chance to add something to this topic, my friend. 1 minute.
Yeah, no, I agree with them. And I think we are all agreeing in this. It's going to be hard to find someone that disagrees on this. We need different perspective. And, we value everyone, the ones that don't have a lot, but we also value the ones that have a lot because they have been funding this project from the beginning. So it's just a balance. We need to stay on top.
Fair points. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I think those were all great replies. Really enjoying hearing from you and your thoughts. I think we're safe to move to the next question. Just do you want to take it?
Absolutely, my friend. So the next question go to Emperor. Emperor, should council members be able to propose their own pips? 1 minute, friend.
This one's pretty simple. I think so. There's no reason not to, as long as they express and tell people, and it's obvious that, I mean, in order to do it, you have to put your name on, the Discord channel, and if we ever move away from Discord, pips shouldn't be anonymous. So this is a really softball question for me, but yeah, do it. We're all part of the community. Now, should you vote on your own? Sure, yes, but I think it just needs to be clear that the people who are on the council are people that absolutely love and care about the project. So yeah, and introduce your own, but make it known. Pretty easy.
Awesome. We have JP. JP is killing it. He's answering everything. JP, you have 1 minute, friend.
Yes, yeah. So I'll just bring some perspective from my time on Alluvium's council. So the way that that's generally done is that you have a sponsor, and then you'll also have contributors to the proposals. So I agree with what Emperor said. I think there's really no issue. Typically, the council members almost on every proposal, there's some council member that's either a contributor or the sponsor for that proposal. I also don't think there's any conflict of interest voting on your own proposals. The only time that I've ever seen a conflict of interest is if the subject of that proposal would directly impact something personal to that person on the council or uh, other companies that they have. For example, if I put forward a proposal for working with third parties, and the passing of this proposal would impact Arcade, then I would sit myself out of that voting, even if I was the one that put it forward, because obviously I don't want the conflict of interest being related to Arcade. But generally, agree with Emperor on this one.
Nice, very nice. You have 1 more minute, Emperor, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, no, I do want to add. So on our downtown organization, and this kind of ties into that last question with a conflict of interest. In order to be on our downtown board, you literally have to have a conflict of interest, and you literally need to have a vested interest. So yeah, and like if there was like with our downtown board, if you have a direct compensation portion, as long as you make it known with our downtown board, and I think it would be the same here. If you're going to monetarily benefit or benefit on any level, as long as you make it known and put that conflict out there and those benefits that you'll receive, great, do it.
Awesome. Thanks, GP. Santi, I think we are good to move to the next question.
Yeah, I think it's good. Honestly, really appreciate the insights that people are sharing here. It's super valuable, and honestly, it also helps me learn about how other DAO operates and how things usually work. So yeah, I think it's very valuable conversation. But we can move to the next one. We just had the question for Emperor, so that means that we'll move to Funcracker. Funcracker, want to do a quick mic check?
Yo!
Yes, it works.
Still working.
Funcracker, here's a question for you. 1 minute to reply, my friend.
Yes.
Should the council members have more power or influence that they currently have?
No. Because at this point in time, with the PIP being as vague as it is, I think they have enough power. Actually, I would suggest that we probably narrow it down a little bit. I'm not saying we should take anything away that they need, but I do think we need to make things more concrete. I've seen some comments in the past of people saying like, with all the previous pips so far, there's just too much room potentially available for malintent or just shenanigans. And I agree. I think we should actually work to narrow things down to, at the end of our term, have hopefully a PIP that would just be more concrete and say, hey, this is what the council can do, and this is what they cannot. So yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the detailed reply. I think Drum Carlos wants to reply to this one. So Drum Carlos, you'll have a minute, my friend, starting now.
Yeah, I believe the council position doesn't hold a lot of power right now. We know that the DAO is going to evolve and it's going to start expanding and it's going to get more important decisions to make and bigger budgets. But right now, they are more like employees helping as some kind of democratic process. However, it's very important that everyone running for the DAO understands the job, understands the limitation, and I sometimes get the feeling that part of the community doesn't even understand how limited the DAO is right now, because we're working mostly like a grant DAO where we have a vault and we're giving grants to projects that are going to contribute to our cause. So it's very important to educate the community and to make sure that the people running understand the limits of the job.
Perfect. So Funcracker, 1 minute to reply to that or to add anything, any thoughts?
No, I completely agree with Drum in the sense that there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of people who misinterpret or somehow also are afraid that right there's too much power in the council, and exactly for that reason, I would like to make it more concrete. So there is a lot of space in the current PIP. Yes, if you read it face value, there seem also to be plenty of limitations already, but it's just too vague. So some people read too much, some people perhaps read too little. My goal is to make sure that within that current framework, we just narrow things down and make it concrete so everybody knows what they can and cannot do. There's no more confusion, and also we make sure that it cannot be abused in the future.
Perfect. Thank you for your answer. I think Emperor wanted to chime in on this.
Yeah, I'll be fairly brief because I have to be, because it's only a minute. So in my real estate development that we're doing, I have to create an HOA, and HOA is a bad word, and my homeowners don't know it, but it'll be a DAO. That being said, in the beginning, I'm the dictator as the developer. I get to set the rules because I have to, and I don't see this as being much different. So in the beginning, and who knows how long that is, you got to be in charge. Somebody's got to be the daddy. Somebody has to make decisions, right? Somebody's got to set the groundwork and the rules. And so my answer is both. We need the power right now, but what does DAO stand for, right? Decentralized autonomous organization. So you create it in the beginning with the goal of handing it off to the people. But in the beginning, you got to have somebody in charge, and you got to have those people doing what they're doing.
Cool. Thank you for my friend. Funcracker, 1 minute to add anything.
Yeah, sure. No, so I both agree and disagree. Yes, of course, there's somebody that should be right at the inception and plot stuff out, and I guess that is both the team and the. Insofar, it should be the DAO itself. It's the director. Looking at the pips, right? The director has like an insane amount of power, far more than the council. So if there's anything that needs to happen, then the director could make it happen. I don't think the council should be confused with the like the founding fathers or anything like that. So that's where I absolutely disagree. Right. The DAO is already here. The community is already present. So we have a functioning governing system. We're just here to streamline things, help people, help things along. And just make sure we level ourselves up. But we don't need more power.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take. I think we can go for one more here. Brian, I know you probably have some thoughts on this. So let's unmute Brian and give him a minute.
Yeah, we absolutely need more power. Governments don't work when there's 1,000 people running them. Organizations don't work when there's 1,000 people. Everything flows up. So we need decision makers. We need people to be agile. And right now, it's not really that. We have to, we're bound by the rules, and then we have to go back to the PIP holders, and then they have to wait 2 weeks. So there's this push and pull between agileness and security. The thing is, people are worried about somebody taking advantage, like, oh, Brian's going to take over the DAO. The polis holders always have the ultimate power. At any point, they can take anyone off. They can reject the Star Atlas Council. So any schemes anyone has, it's just not based in reality. We're eventually going to need to do this, right? We're going to need to hire Swagner to run the thing in 5 years from now. So why not head there now? Why not in this time where we need fast action? We need fast.
That was the 1 minute cutoff. You know how savage it is. Funcracker, you'll be the last one. Any closing thoughts here?
Well, yeah, I vehemently disagree with this notion. We're not Illuvian. We're not delegating our voting power to a few people who are going to set things straight and do stuff for the DAO. The people are here in control, right? And don't mistake this thing that the people can like create like 100 different pips to move the DAO to where they want. We could make like 30 different pips if we want, and then get the community to vote on them to get us to where we want to be in 5 years. It doesn't need a council with a lot of power to just do their thing uncontrolled, unchecked. That's not how it should be. Everything should be checked and controlled, and that means pips. So yeah, let's go.
Wow, thank you. Really enjoyed this one, Jose, man.
that was funny. Not
Oh
gonna-
man,
I had
that
I had to mute myself here.
this is the type of discussion that I'm looking for.
That's what
man.
exactly.
This is what I signed up to. But Jose, I'll let you take the next one, my friend.
Yeah. The next one's for Notcats. Notcats, maybe we should do a mic check on Notcats. Notcats.
Hola.
Oh, here we go. It's working. Awesome. So, Notcats, the question that we have for you today is it a council member's role to drive specific topics or views for the DAO as a whole? 1 minute.
Personally, no. I think that should be up to the community to find out what areas are lacking regarding pips. I'd say the council's main job is just to encourage a participation in general. Not try to point it to any specific side, not try to point it to any specific subject. Obviously, as council, will also be able to participate. So we have the capacity to, if we see an issue, an opportunity, or a solution to something, we can ourselves propose it. But I don't think we should be the ones in charge of the conversation or leading the conversation as much as promoting the conversation and expanding it as well in the community as well as outwards as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Notcats. Let's see who wants to reply to this one.
I think Funcracker.
Funcracker was the first one. Yep, Funcracker. 1 minute, friend.
Yeah, so I think the council has the prime task that we have is to ensure that the governance system is just streamlined and is working well. The wheels are well greased, and we help everybody move their pip through the process. We educate everybody how to create a pip. That is one part for sure. And this, I guess, goes a little bit to what Brian was saying before. If we want to make sure we're further implementing things that are necessary for where we want to be in 5 years, for example, then yeah, I think a secondary objective is absolutely to create pips and to ensure that we are moving in the right direction as well as in the way that we as a council think we need to move to get there. So I think it's both. I think we should do both.
Interesting. Notcats, you have 1 minute, friend.
I mean, we're basically saying the same thing. I mean, we as council members have to be proactive to, as I said, put the pips forward in what we feel should be the right way for the DAO. But as I said, I'm not gonna impose my opinion or influence anybody else's opinion on what they think is the way forward as well. I mean, it's up for us to put the pips forward, let the people decide, and let the community in general take the path that they should that they think we should take.
Awesome. I see Emperor wants to talk about this topic as well. Emperor, you have 1 minute, friend.
Yeah, thank you. This kind of ties into the question you guys gave me. It's a bit difficult, but the answer is no. They shouldn't drive anything. As a council member, our job is to facilitate, right? That's what it specifically says in the PIP, and I think that's what we're called to do. Now, how does that tie into when we have our own personal opinions? That's a great question. That's something I think the council is going to have to work through and come up with some sort of guideline. this is probably one of the more difficult ones, to be honest, because I know King Brian, he's got all kinds of ideas. A lot of us do, and so like when it's our idea or when it's a council member's idea, they're on both sides of the fence, and that one's difficult. But short of it being one of our own ideas or the council members' ideas, sorry about that. I don't mean to keep doing that, but no, we shouldn't guide anything.
Should be
Okay.
not cats again.
Yeah, not cats.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have much to add besides that. I guess, I mean, I think most of us agree here that we should impulse conversation as well as participate in that conversation. Just don't, not try and impose it over anybody else. Yeah.
Okay. We have Jitblade as well that wants to add his perspective. Jitblade, you have 1 minute, friend.
Okay, so the conversation here is on whether or not we actually should be guided. Now, we do need to make sure that for the first council that we are structuring things that create a solid government structure. Beyond that, the council should be facilitating the conversation.
Awesome. I see lots of people wanting to join, guys, but I'm sorry. We have lots of other questions to ask still, so I'm
I think
sorry.
it's fine to let one more
One more?
interjection.
I'll ask first, Notcast. Notcast, you want to add anything to Jit's comment, or we can move to the next person?
I think we're good.
Okay, so Brian, you have 1 minute, friend.
Yeah, I think that I actually lost my train of thought because it kept going on and on. So I'm looking at the proposal right now, and one of the proposals is acting as a positive and welcoming influence to encourage greater participation in governance. And there's also one that says develop resolutions for the Star Alliance Council to improve operational consistency and transparency. For me, and we've talked about this before, like we are ambassadors of the DAO to the greater ecosystem. And those two things right there say that I have all the power I want to go out into the world and represent the DAO. And that's great because we need the DAO. It needs to be more visible to the world, right? My Solana connections, I talk about Star Atlas all the time. I want JP talking about Star Atlas, to his arcade friends, to his Illuvium friends. Like we need people to go out there in the world, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that.
Interesting. Notcasts, any final comments, friend, before we move on?
No, not really. I mean, I think we're mostly on the same page. I mean, we're all agreed that the council is here to impulse conversation, put it forward, and just bring the gospel of Star Atlas and Polis to everybody around.
Awesome. Santi, I think we covered this topic, friend.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We have 2 more questions left, Jose. So I think we should go with Jitblade next. So Jitblade, I have a question for you here. Someone is saying they can't hear me.
I can hear Santi. I think they're trolling you.
They're trolling? No way. Okay, Jitblade is saying he can't hear me.
Yeah, no, Jitblade is not trolling, so you better rejoin.
Yeah, I'll leave and rejoin.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Can you hear him now? Awesome.
Nutcut says it works. Jitblade as well. Okay, I hope you guys weren't trolling, man. All right, let's go with Jitblade's question. So, Jitblade, how and when should a council member be removed from the council?
This is a tough one. So a council member should most likely only be removed via a complete vote of no confidence from the DAO itself, which could, in theory, be for whatever reason, or if they are found to have breached the trust of the DAO and or the council or automaton. Honestly, I don't see any other way a council member should be removed. I mean, other than perhaps they are no longer capable of actually being on the council for whatever reason, but at that point they should basically be removing themselves.
Copy that. Good answer, my friend. I think Emperor wants to chime in here. So Emperor, you have a minute.
Yeah, thank you. So with our downtown board, we set it out in the rules in the beginning. So like the only way to automatically really be removed is if a board member in our situation misses 3 meetings in a row, then the board as a whole can elect to remove them. So it's pretty simple. You set rules up that that set the stage, and yes, there are situations where you have to remove people. And no, I don't think it is reasonable to to create, like, if somebody does get removed, this was in governance the other day, to completely eliminate all council members and start over. That seems a little unnecessary. But there could be 2 ways to do it: an internal structure, and then actually a PIP vote as well. Now replacing them, that's a whole nother story. But there's obviously times where you could very well need to take somebody off, and the rules need to be set in place. Simple, easy.
Cool. Thank you so much, friend. Blade, anything to add here or replay?
Well, actually, yeah, good points, because if somebody goes no contact, starts missing meetings, that point, yeah, the council is not going to really have any choice but to move to replace them. However, other than that, unless we come up with anything else specific, that would obviously need to be voted on via a PIP anyways. So that's something that actually at this point I would bring back to the community. What would actually make like asking we need to ask the community, what do you think would make a council member need to be removed?
Fair points. Fair points. We maybe ask that in the governance channel after. But I know JP has something to add to this matter. So let's unmute. You have 1 minute.
Yeah, so I agree that it typically should require a vote of no confidence, and I think the most important thing to add here is just that, and we can ask the community in governance, like Blade said, but I think that what qualifies or what triggers a vote of no confidence should be fairly set in stone. I think that it's a slippery slope when you move for a vote of no confidence due to lack of performance. I understand attendance is maybe a different variable, but if someone is underperforming, I generally think that that should just be communicated to the broader community and then taken into account during the next vote, right? I don't think that someone should be forced out if they're just not super good at the job. But ethical concerns, violations of NDA, stuff like that we can very easily define upfront, should trigger a vote of no confidence. And I guess that would be my only thing to add.
Cool. Thank you for the thoughts. Blade, anything to close here, my friend?
Honestly, I think everything has been gone over. I mean, we just need to decide exactly what would cause a vote of no confidence. And again, I wasn't necessarily saying poor performance. I was saying somebody going completely no contact, no communication with the rest of the council, with the community, for whatever reason, for a significant period of time, let's say a month, because it's only 6 months from the term. So other than that, I think it should actually be up to the community to decide what exactly would bring about a vote of no confidence, other than the obvious, which is violating NDAs or other types of trust.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the reply. With that, we close this question and we'll move to the next one.
Yeah,
So
it's
just
JP for the next one. JP, what is the best way to use the DAO treasury? You have 1 minute, friend.
Best way to use the DAO treasury. So I tend to be a little bit, I guess, defensive in capital management. I don't like to blow lots of money. I've seen companies, even Arcade, blew a lot of money that I wish we hadn't. And so I've learned a lot of lessons throughout the years on that. So I think you have to be careful to not overspend, obviously. So I would be very defensive of capital. I would make sure that capital that is deployed is tracked, and that we have very strong reporting that goes to the community, right? You want to have quarterly reports that show where money is going. Here's the amount that goes to council if that's the direction that we go. Here's the amount that was invested into community ventures. Here's the quarterly return on that money that was spent in the ventures. And I think that we also should have, whether that be the DAO side has like a treasurer, or something like that, to where that.
Sorry, friend. The 1 minute has ended. We have Ahota here asking to respond to this question. Ahota, let's check Ahota's mic.
Check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let's go.
Yay. Okay, so I think that at this time, the council shouldn't be running uh, programs to fund. In any case, it should be people proposing PIPs, the ones asking for a certain program to be run. But at the moment, I think that as people said before, we should serve and help and nourish the environment, but not be making decisions, creating programs, etc. at the moment. Maybe let's see in the future, but at the moment, let's figure out how the council could work and how the PIP program could work in the future and help people make them.
Awesome. We have Brian next, I think.
JP again.
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
JP. Yeah, sorry. JP's reply.
Just real quick, before JP starts, Ahota, can you leave and then join back? A lot of people are saying they can't hear you.
My voice sick. You can tell.
Yeah, Dominic, bro.
Yeah, JP, take it.
Go ahead. All right. Yeah, so I agree with what he said, even though I guess half the people couldn't hear him. He had some good insight there. I think, generally speaking, when I say I'm defensive in capital management, I think where I lean as well is that it's too early to be deploying capital just because we have it. This DAO is still very young. We should be very defensive of the capital that we have, work on low risk ways to grow that capital, to generate yield from that capital. But should we go out and invest in 20 Star Atlas community projects and drain our treasury in the first 48 months? No, I don't think so. And I think that we need to work on efficient capital management that's very transparent with the community.
Awesome. We have Brian who wants to chime in. Brian, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify a few things there. I think there's a bit of confusion. The question for me, at least, was if I was a Polis, holder, what kind of PIP would I put up to use the funds? Different than a councilor doing that. So just want to make that clear. Councilors can't do PIPs. We do that as a Polis holder. And I just want to remind everyone that everyone voted for the Star Atlas Ecosystem Fund, which has a budget of 20% of the Star Atlas DAO's treasury to help to fund community projects. And one of the issues we have right now is we need more participation. We need to grow the pie. So I'm absolutely in favor, and we are authorized to fund community projects that request it, and of course that are reasonable, viable, and are voted in by the Polis holders. One of those that I've talked about recently is tournaments, FPS tournaments. The other one is development projects by devs. Like all of these things.
Oh, the muting.
Bro,
The
the
old
meeting is
savage
brutal.
muting.
Thank you, Brian. GP, do you have anything else to add, my friend, to Brian's comment?
Yeah, I'll just say that I think that it's possible to be responsible with the disbursement of funds, and I see that 20% that we have been given permission or we've been granted the ability to spend, that should be not the target, but the limit, right? I don't think we should encourage Polis and Pips that are Polis voters and Pips to spend that 20% just because we can. I think we need to be very strict in the application process, in what kind of future development that that proposal is going to bring to the community and to the DAO. And ultimately, yes, we are given that the access to that 20%. I just tend to think that that money can very easily be wasted, especially in this industry. So I'm a little bit more conservative, I think. But generally speaking, yes, of course. And I would encourage people to always put forth those proposals. It's just, we have to be critical of them. We can't just say anything that gets submitted with a reason.
Your time is over, GP. Thank you for your answer, friend. Santi, I think we.
I think
Oh,
there
we
are
have,
more
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah,
wanted
we
to
have
chime
two more.
in. Yeah.
So, Jitblade, friend, please add your comments. 1 minute.
Okay, so a big part of this question is what exactly is the DAO's current income and how is that going to be projected? I did hear in one of the econ forums that we are actually getting a lot more income into the DAO than it looks like we are actually getting on paper in terms of new Atlas, at least. And we are still getting a little bit of USDC. So what we really need to do when we're planning this out is look at what our actual income is and to make sure that we're able to, one, pay the foundation consistently, and two, ideally grow the budget while we're also providing funds. So yeah, we should be conservative, but we also need to be we need to be really looking at how much we're actually bringing in right now to plan out the rest.
Thank you, Jitblade. Back to you, friend. You have 1 minute, GP.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything that he just said. In general, I want to see positive ROI from these community projects. I want to make sure that capital that we have is being used responsibly. And at the end of the day, it's too easy to set up a super simple form that just says if you check all of these right boxes, we're going to give you 50 grand worth of funds from the community and good luck, right? We have to have a really responsible way of tracking where that money goes, how it is spent. And I think it's the council's responsibility to not only educate the community on what is happening with those funds, but also as these PIPs come forward and we're evaluating the different opportunities as a community, it's going to be the council's responsibility to come in, with the experience that these counselors have and say, hey, like I see some problems with this, so let's talk about how this is going to work and kind of move the conversation in the right direction so that we can make informed decisions.
Thank you, JP, friend. I also saw that Not Cats wants to respond to this question. Not Cats, you have 1 minute, friend.
All right, so for me, I see it in like three different categories. For me, we can spend on ecosystem growth. We can spend on investment, so getting the ROI that JP says, or do rev distribution, which is a lot of people have put in for that as well. For me, the priority should be 100% game ecosystem distribution. So expanding, as Brian said, tournaments, bringing more visibility to the ecosystem as well as solidifying the foundations. Because to me, I see it as a huge opportunity cost to have, let's say, a certain amount of money at a low risk 4% for a year when we can be putting that money towards an audit for, let's say, a slide tool or some else community tool. that would have a lot more immediate impact for the community. But I do want to say that I think we still are a way away from being able to have be able to do that, because I think the DAO has to be a lot more polished, and the processes have to be a lot.
Sorry, not cats. GP, you have 1 last minute, friend.
All right, so I'm going to try to speak faster this time, or more concisely at least. So I'm going to tear into the idea of RevDis a little bit, just because I have seen that brought up a lot of time, several different times. There was even a pip about disbursement early on, right when the DAO launched. Guys, it is too early for that. I mean, honestly, it just is. We don't have the positive, sustainable revenue that we need for that to be a good idea. We're talking about small disbursements right now to people that are already in the community. We should use these funds for user acquisition to grow the player base, to get more people holding avatars and crewmen, to get more people playing, Sage Labs. We need to work on user acquisition, and then on the tail end of that, you can do RevDis in a responsible way. But it's just too early for it right now, and that's something that I'm pretty strong, strongly going to argue against. But again, it's not all up to me. It's a community effort. But yeah, that would be the only thing that he just said that I felt the need to address.
Thank you very much, GP. Santi, I think we can come back to Ahota now that he's here.
That's right. That's right. Thanks everyone again for all the replies. I think this has been a great debate so far, guys. I really appreciate everyone coming here and sharing your thoughts, and it's been very insightful for me as well, and I'm sure it's the same for the audience. But yeah, last question. Then we will give a minute for everyone for some closing remarks. But first we'll go to Ahota, since we couldn't do it the first time. Ahota, let's do a quick mic check for you. So Ahota, are you here, my friend?
Check.
Yeah, it works.
Great.
So Ahota, should council members be allowed to voice their opinions about the content of a PIP? Not if the PIP is well formatted or anything like that, more on the content of it.
Okay. I go for a yes, of course. Anyone is entitled to an opinion, so any council member should be able to cast their opinion, because in the end, actually, as a this is okay, as an official member, your opinion doesn't mind at all. It's the people who should vote, and you're one of those person who's going to vote for a PIP. But should we ban the council members for giving opinions, even if they are they should be polite, but they're entitled to have their opinion. Everybody has an opinion, but always having into account that it's just it's not an opinion. It's not a power. It's not.
The cutoff. It's the minute. It's the minute. So I know Funkcracker wants to add something here. Funkcracker, my friend, you'll have a minute right now.
Yeah, thanks. So while I agree that as an individual you can have an opinion, I absolutely think we should keep that to ourselves during the council, during our term as a council member, preferably, and at the very least, in the capacity of a council member, you should absolutely not voice your opinion on the substance of a PIP. It's completely irrelevant if we like what is proposed or if we dislike what is proposed. The question we have to ask ourselves is, does this PIP contain everything that is required to move to the next stage so people can vote on it? And that's what we should focus on. And I mean, I am slightly, I mean, perhaps I can be convinced that as a council member, we are allowed to personally, privately, clearly with a disclaimer, chime in here or there, but I think it's just it will just muddy the water. I think that's just, it's too confusing.
All right. Appreciate the answer, Funkcracker. Ahota, Anything else to add, my friend here? 1 minute.
It's okay. I agree. Nothing to add on that regard. Maybe just taking into account that you are a reference person and you should keep your phone, but everybody should be able to express their opinion. And in the end, it's people who have the power.
Okay. I know here JP had something to add. So, JP, my friend, you have a minute starting now.
All right, so I know Funcracker just said that he's open to being convinced. So I'm here to convince you, Funcracker. I absolutely think that people should be able, that as counselors, we should be able to voice our opinion as individuals in the community. Number one, the people that vote us into this council respect our opinions and they trust our judgment. And it would be a disservice to them for us not to give our personal opinion on these things. And you can separate that from the responsibility that we have as counselors to check the right boxes and move it up the governance pipeline. You can do that and disagree with something, but you can also do that and agree with it. And I think it would be a disservice to the community for us not to actively voice those opinions because people trust the opinions that we have, or else they wouldn't have voted us into the position.
Cool. Thank you for the reply, JP. Ahota, anything to add?
Great experts. I love it.
Okay. Then I think we have time to also get Drum Carlos in here. I know he said he wanted to talk. So, Drum Carlos, 1 minute for you, my friend.
Yeah, I absolutely disagree with JP on this one. I think this is a real job. This is not a game loop. The DAO is not a game loop. It's a software-defined company, not a game loop in the game. And we need to separate this completely to our opinion as players and as members of the community. I think it's very important that we don't influence don't try to influence any PIP that comes up. If you want to express your voice, you use your police and you go vote. But as a council member, we need to be neutral and we need to treat every PIP the same way. So I completely disagree.
Fair enough. I like the different opinions. Ahota, my friend, anything to add here?
Oh, I stand with my previous opinion. I also think that, as was said before, voting a council member is also because you are aligned with their point of view. So that is, there should be no reason to ban these people for talking. I will only actually it's about talking. So it's about I if you have a bad behavior and for example you go and want to set on fire some proposal, maybe that I don't think that the council member should do that. Maybe we can think if that could trigger a vote for regarding that person. But in any case, I think that anyone should be able to speak their words.
All right. I think we can do 1 minute for Emperor on this topic, and we can then come back to Ahota and move to the closing remarks. So, Emperor, 1 minute on this topic, my friend.
Awesome, thank you. I just kind of wanted to share an anecdote in my real life experience. It just happened a month ago. So we were trying to get a farmers market downtown, and we represent the people that pay a tax into our district, right? And there's certain people that didn't want to close the street down. And I personally thought they were being short-sighted because why the hell wouldn't you want 2,000 extra people walking by and seeing your store? And that was my personal opinion. But as the VP of the board, I sided with the shop owners. I didn't agree with it, but we listened to them, and I probably should have pushed back, but we listened to them. So there are instances where this stuff comes up, and this plays into the same vein of having opinions. Like I did share my own personal opinion at the board meeting, but then I was the one that made the motion to not have.
The anecdote. F's in the chat.
F in the
F
chat,
in the
brother.
chat. F in the chat. But yeah, Ahota, anything to close? Then we'll move to closing
Sure.
remarks.
Just that being able to express your opinion is doesn't mean that you are a public figure. You shouldn't throw trash on the pips because that's not your job. So behave, follow the rules, and do your job. Not become dirty politician.
All right. That marks the end of the last question, guys. So, per popular request, we're probably going to give 1 minute to each of the candidates for closing remarks. I know some requested 2, but we have to keep it to 1 minute. We're well over the hour now. So we'll go in alphabetical order again. So it's 1 minute for the closing remark per candidate. Ahota, you will start here. Just 1 minute. Actually, let's do 1 minute and a half. 1 minute and a half. Let's go.
Okay, so as council members, we should be at your service and help as much as possible in the tasks that Star Atlas is confiding us to do. So the most important thing is to think that at the moment we don't have the power to make we don't have the power to decide where the budget goes or anything like in that regard. We are working towards nourishing and helping people make their pips and make them well formed and so that it can thrive and we can and people can propose very interesting proposals. And that's I think that everyone in this room is down for that because as we said, it's not a bad position. It's purely made at this moment. It's purely made for love for the project. I think that regardless of whoever you want, we will be in good hands, except for dictators. Please do not vote for dictators. Sorry. But if you decide to vote for me, I'll be very honored and thankful for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ahota. We'll move now to Bodhi. Bodhi, 1 minute and a half closing remarks.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the brew. I agree with the defensive capital allocation this early in the DAO. I think that's a really good idea. And be a little bit more liberal with the spending. Not that I have control over the pips themselves to get passed, but I would like to, provide the transparency needed to follow that those tactics. A couple value propositions that I have specifically for the position. I have a significant amount of time at the computer to spend on council duties, and my focus will primarily be outside of those standard council duties. Will be to focus on the frameworks that streamline and improve the quality of work within the council and its members moving forward. So a couple example of that is number one, transparency. I think being able to show people exactly what's going on is really important. Dialing in the compensation is something that I'm really interested in. How we're going to hold members accountable, and as well as the election process. I think that those are all very fundamental aspects as far as the quality of the council. It's really important early on, as a first term council member to dial that stuff in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bodhi. And now we'll move to Brian. King Brian, you have 1 minute and a half for closing remarks, my friend.
Great. I want to talk a little bit about something that I think is very important that I mentioned before, and it's growing the pie. But what does that actually mean? And several people have touched on that before, so I want to add a little bit more detail. So growing the pie is user acquisition, right? We need more users, and that's going to grow the pie of Polis and Star Atlas. We need to grow our income streams, and how do we do that? By more users, more game loops, just more stuff. Also, ecosystem visibility. I'm a huge proponent of that. We need to get out there. We need to get people from the outside. We can't just keep, spreading the wealth amongst our internal people. We need outside. And the perfect example is the Surge tournament. Like, that brought people from the outside, and it's going to bring people from other venues, other genres, other ecosystems. So I really want that to happen. And that is going to happen by actions and not ideas. There's a lot of ideas out there, but I would encourage everyone to start doing something. Let's get shit done. The second thing that is really important for me is reporting to pulse holders. I want everyone to know what we're doing. So part of that is going to be communication back to you guys, weekly updates, funding updates, spreadsheets. Everything that we're doing, you should know about. And finally, I want to remind everyone that this is everyone's council and everyone's game, and you can grow your.
The cutoff.
Jesus.
All right, we have to keep moving here. So, Drum Carlos, you will have 1 minute and a half for closing remarks, my friend, starting now.
All right. Well, as a closing statement, I just want to remind everyone that this is a very important decision we're making here. This is a serious decision. This DAO carries a lot of funds. And, this goes beyond our guilds, our faction, and our friends. We need to choose people that we believe that can give us what we need, in the DAO. We all have our biases, but make sure you consider that the candidates you're electing are consistent, are determined, have been here in the good and in the bad ones. They have knowledge of the game, and they have knowledge of the community, because this is the only way we can empower that community, so their ideas, can reach farther than they could on their own, because we are in this hole together. So this is just the beginning of the DAO. The DAO will evolve. The DAO will change. This is a wonderful gift that we were given by the Star Atlas team. And, my stance, as a DAO member, as a council member, my stance regarding community, transparency, and efficiency. And I'm trying to give very solid points and contribute in a very concise manner. And you can go into my page as a candidate and see all the ideas I've been putting together lately.
Wow, I think that was perfect. 1 minute and a half, John Carlos. So thank you for the closing remarks. Now we'll move to Emperor. Emperor, my friend, 1 minute and a half for you, brother.
Thanks. Now, in closing, I just want to say, if you want somebody that has real world experience running governance, I'm your guy. This is really important in the beginning. With our downtown organization, we have to abide by the Open Meetings Act. We have to use the funds from the CDBG, so that's the federal government. They have their own set of guidelines. I'm not unfamiliar with processes and procedures. Everything we do is out in the open. It's transparent. We have to keep minutes. We're in the middle of a FOIA request right now, a Freedom of Information Act. And thank God we've always been above reproach. So if you want somebody that has that experience, that's me. If you want somebody that looks out for the little guy, I've got like 81,000 PvP. I've played every iteration of Sage and all of them. I think I'm number one on Flower Hunt. I'm not a big guy. I'm not a big whale. I am in Rome, yes, but I do represent the small guy, and I also represent the big guys. I'm fairly well versed in playing in both worlds. So, if you want somebody that is a really good balance and has real life experience, that's me. And ask several of the candidates. I work really well with all kinds of different people, loud people, and also soft spoken folks. So vote for me.
Thank you, Emperor. We move to Funkcracker now. Funkcracker, you have 1 minute and a half starting now.
Yeah, awesome. So first, thanks for having me. I have to say I'm truly happy to see so many passionate community members stepping up for this role. That just warms my heart. So, just want to acknowledge that. In other news, it's power to the people, folks. It's not power to the council. So let's make sure we stick to that. I think the DAO's purpose is ensuring that Stratos is here to stay, and that we have a flourishing ecosystem. And I think the council should work towards that and be a facilitator in the governance process. And all of this has to be done in a transparent way. So let's get to work. And
And I don't know. I don't know what happened there. He still had time, I think. All right. I guess maybe that's a marketing strategy. Maybe I don't know.
I guess. I don't know.
Let the speculation begin. But yeah, thank you, Funkcracker. Now we'll move to Notcats. Notcats, my friend, 1 minute and a half for closing statements.
All right, so let me start off with saying, in my personal opinion, this council will be completely different than all the next councils after it. In my opinion, this council's job is to make all the next councils a lot easier. For me, that, as I said in the previous brew, it revolves around 3 axes. So first, it's inward operations. So how we as council members are going to distribute the work. How are we going to get together? How are we going to make decisions that affect us working internally? Also, external operations. So how are we going to be transparent to the community? How are we going to streamline PIPs? How are we going to do all that? And the last part is marketing and expansion. So bringing more participation, bringing more visibility towards that. So Rome wasn't built in one day. For me, this is day one. We're at like 2 a.m. We still have a lot of processes to establish. We still have a lot of things to define, a lot of scopes to determine in a little bit more specific manner. So I'm very comfortable with all the people here because I know they have the project's best interest in mind. So I'm pretty sure whichever 5 candidates we have up here will do a great job and vote for me. I'm not that retarded.
Well, I
Thanks,
like that
Logan.
campaign line. Yeah. But yeah, we keep moving here. We have 2 more candidates. So Blade, my friend, will give you 1 minute and a half right now.
Okay, so I don't think I've really spoken about this as much lately. However, my goal here is to create a strong, sustainable governance structure that is something that can move Star Atlas as a game forward, and that could also be used to then create other types of differing governance structures out in the real world. So I'm dedicated to making sure that this DAO process works. My experience with this is with mostly various forms of activism, as well as a lot of education from various sources growing up about politics. I did grow up in a kind of questionable community. However, that community did raise me in a way that I would be a future leader in that community, but I rejected that for obvious reasons that I speak about on my DAO page. And yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Blade. We have the last candidate now for the 1 minute and a half closing remarks. JP, my friend, you will have 1 minute and a half starting now.
First of all, just want to say thank you to you guys and for everyone that attended this. So I think in closing, what I bring to the table is a difference of perspective. I am full-time in Web3. I have built a Web3 company from the ground up over the past 3 years. I'm passionate about GameFi and its success. I want the Star Atlas community to be an overwhelming success, not just because I'm personally interested in it, but because the growth of this industry, I think is just too important, right? The growth of GameFi in general. As a council member, I hope to bring outside perspective from other game projects, other guilds in a way that helps the community see things through a different lens. I think that there's a lot of really talented people that are up here speaking right now. I think we're in good hands regardless, but I do think if you want a wild card that is going to bring different perspective and experience from other DAOs, other companies to mesh with that of the Star Atlas perspective, then I'm your guy. I think that this first epoch or term, whatever we're calling it, is fundamentally important because it sets the rule set, it sets the standard, the precedent for future councils. And as part of that, someone that has DAO experience, that has served on councils, and that brings real world experience in business and project management, I think that I can add.
Oh man, I feel bad.
Very good.
Yeah, I feel bad, but it's the minute and a half. It's the minute and a half. But yeah, all right. I think this marks the end of the debate, and I just want to close here saying thank you to all the candidates. Honestly, coming here to share your thoughts, being on stage is not easy, and coming here on a Wednesday, spending 1 hour and a half here, just sharing your thoughts on how to add value to the Star Atlas ecosystem and community is something that really cannot be underestimated. So really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for also thinking of taking time from your lives, from your personal lives, to invest it in the Star Atlas ecosystem and its success. Much appreciated. Hope I know not all of you are going to win, but if you don't be discouraged. There will be more terms, and yeah, this is great, and thank you so much for coming. Same for the audience as well. Thank you, everyone. Thanks to everyone who chimed in for a while or who listened to everything that we've been talking about. So I don't know, Jose, if you have any closing thoughts here.
No, Santi, I just want to add on what you just said. I felt the debate was super fun, super interesting, brought me lots of clarity on where each council member heads is at this moment. So yeah, I guess voting need to start now, and soon we'll have the final council members elected, and yeah, this is a huge moment for us. Thank you guys for being part of this, for participating in the process, and making Staratas move forward.
Yeah. Best of luck to everyone here on stage. And guys, again, thank you, Bodhi, for the ping. And I know someone else pinged me before on that one. Dukes, thank you guys for pinging me on this. But yeah, remember that Kriegs and Dmark dropped from the election. We have adjusted this, but just make sure that you adjust your votes on your end as well. So your votes go to the people who are actually running. So thanks, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. Thanks to all the council candidates for taking the time today and making sure that you want to invest your time and effort into growing Star Atlas. We will do this all together. Looking forward to collaborate a lot with the council members from the community team, making sure that that communication pipeline goes well and effective. And yeah, thank you so much again, guys. And we'll see you next week at the brew at the same time. And remember to vote, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for participating. See ya.